Good morning, dear children. This video is for class 7 and the subject is science. We have begun with the chapter motion and time and we are going to continue with the same. In the previous class, we have discussed about the devices that are speedometer and odometer. Speedometer is a device which measures the speed of vehicles in kilometer per hour, and odometer is a device which measures the distance covered by a vehicle. So these were the things which we discussed yesterday, and what we are going to study today, that is about the distance time graph. How to plot the distance time graph and know the speed of a particular vehicle, that we are going to learn today. So the distance traveled by a car and the time taken is shown in the table below. So these are the time taken by the car, that is 0, 1, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and the distance covered, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometer. So how to plot a graph seeing this table? That is, once you take a graph sheet, so you have the origin as the 0 and you have the x-axis and the y-axis. So here this represents the time in minutes and this distance in kilometers. So for every time and how much the distance is covered, we go on plotting this graph. So there is a certain rule to be followed that I'll be showing you in the video now. So before that, we should, when this type of graph is plotted, what is the result? If the distance time graph is a straight line, then the object is moving with constant speed. If the speed keeps changing, the graph can be in any shape. That is, if this is a straight line, then we can say the speed is constant. If it varies, that is, the points are at some other values, then what happens? The shape of the graph will not be a straight line, but it will be a zigzag, we can say. So like that, with that we can come to know whether the speed is constant or not with the help of the graph. So we plot the graph and also understand this concept. So to make you clear, here is a video how to plot a graph and what are all the things mentioned in a graph sheet, that you will understand in detail in this video. So you please need to watch this.
Hello students, this is Shumi Roy from Techno India Group Public School, Shiliguri, and today we are going to learn how to draw distance time graph. Now let us learn how to draw distance time graph. Generally, we use a graph paper to draw distance time graph. The graph paper has 1 centimeter square marked on it. Each centimeter square has 100 small squares in it, which are millimeter squares. The side of the bigger square on the graph paper is 1 centimeter and that of the smaller square is 1 millimeter. To draw the distance time graph for a moving object, we need a graph paper and the reading of distance travelled by the object and the corresponding time values, which have been obtained experimentally. As you can see in the given figure, where readings of time is taken in seconds and distance in meters. Now, draw a horizontal line on the graph paper to represent x-axis. Label the x-axis by writing time. The unit of time should be written in bracket, such as time in second, time in minute or time in hour. An arrow should be put in front of the labeling of time and its unit like time second. Now draw a vertical line on the left side of the graph paper to represent and y-axis is called origin and marked as O. We should choose suitable scale so as to represent the large values of time and distance conveniently on the small graph paper. The scale to be used depend on the range of time and distance values and hence vary from question to question. From the given reading, take the first value of distance and time and mark 1 point on the graph paper where the graph line representing these two values meet. Now take second, third, fourth and fifth set of values of time and distance and mark corresponding points on the graph paper. Join all the mark point or pencil dots with a pencil. Thus, line graph obtained is required distance time graph. What is the importance of distance time graph? We deal with the distance time graph while studying the motion of bodies. If we record distance and time for the motion of a body and plot the same data on a rectangular graph, we will obtain a distance time graph corresponding to the motion of the body, and by using the graph we will find speed of the bodies. Now let us see how to find speed from distance time graph. As we already know, speed is equal to distance divided by time. Therefore, on a distance time graph, the speed is the slope of a line. To find the slope, take 2 points on the graph, x1, y1 and x2, y2. Formula to calculate slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Substitute the values in the given formula and after calculating, we will find the speed. Distance time graph for uniform motion. A body has a uniform motion if it travels equal distance in equal intervals of time. For example, a truck running at a constant speed of say 10 meters per 2 seconds will cover equal distances of 10 meters every 2 seconds. So its motion will be uniform. Thus, the distance time graph for uniform motion is the straight line as shown in figure. Distance time graph for a non-uniform motion. A body has a non-uniform motion if it travels unequal distance in equal interval of time. For example, the motion of a train starting from the railway station. The distance time graph for a body having non-uniform motion is a curved line as shown in figure. Distance time graph for a body at rest. By saying that the body is at rest, we mean that the speed does not change with time. So, the distance time graph for a body at rest is a straight line parallel to time axis as shown in figure. Some of the points to be kept in mind while choosing the most suitable scale for drawing a graph are: difference between the highest and lowest values should be marked. The intermediate values of each quantity should be marked. Utilize the maximum part of the paper on which graph is to be drawn.
So this is how the graph should be plotted, children. So I hope you have understood this and you should try plotting a graph on a graph sheet which is a table 13.6 which is given in your textbook in page number 152. It is very easy and simple. The table is given wherein it is the example of the motion of a car. So you need to draw the graph. You should plot the graph for it, and you should write whether the speed is the constant, whether it is uniform or non-uniform, or it is the car is at rest. So any of these three you need to give a conclusion for that by plotting the graph and seeing the line in what manner it is, whether it is a straight line or it is curved or the car is at complete rest, and you need to conclude that. Then it is like you have understood the plotting of the graph correctly, as well as you know to analyze the type of motion which is being taken place by the vehicle. I hope you all will do it because it is interesting and easy too. So please try it. So what all we have learnt in this chapter, that is the distance moved by an object in a unit time is called its speed. Speed of objects help us to decide which one is moving faster than the other. The speed of an object is the distance traveled divided by the time taken to cover that distance. Its basic unit is meter per second. Periodic events are used for the measurement of time. Periodic motion of a pendulum has been used to make clocks and watches. Motion of objects can be presented in pictorial form by the distance time graphs. The distance time graph for the motion of an object moving with a constant speed is a straight line. So these are all the points which we have covered in this particular chapter. The question answers will be sent in the form of a worksheet, so later you can write it in your notebook. Till then, thank you children. Have a good day.